In 7 minutes and 36 seconds, a farm boy from Tatooine fired 2 proton torpedoes and changed the fate of trillions forever. But that's just one battle. What if I told you that the entire course of galactic history hinges on just 5 moments of violence? 5 battles where heroes made impossible choices, empires crumbled, and the very nature of good and evil hung in the balance. We will show you how every major conflict in the galaxy, far, far away, connects to create one massive tragic story of hope, betrayal, and redemption. Because what if I told you that every single one of these battles was orchestrated by the same mastermind, and only one of them went exactly as he planned? The battle that started it all, Naboo, the perfect manipulation. Picture this, a peaceful planet blockaded by faceless corporate interests, a brave young queen fighting impossible odds, heroes emerging to save the day. Naboo looks like the perfect fairy tale, which is exactly why it was the perfect trap. Here's what most people miss about the Battle of Naboo. Literally everything that happens is orchestrated by Palpatine. The blockade, he arranged it. The invasion, he ordered it. The queen's escape, he needed it to happen. But here's where it gets truly diabolical. Palpatine didn't just plan the battle, he planned to lose it. Think about it. A Sith Lord engineers his own defeat because the victory gives him something infinitely more valuable: sympathy votes in the Senate and the discovery of the Chosen One. When young Anakin Skywalker climbs into that Naboo starfighter, he's not just destroying a Trade Federation control ship, he's piloting directly into a web that's been spun specifically for him. Now, this is pod racing, he shouts as he accidentally destroys the droid army. But Palpatine, watching from Coruscant, knows there are no accidents. The boy who can see things before they happen has just demonstrated exactly why he'll be worth corrupting. The Battle of Naboo doesn't just save a planet, it puts the future Emperor in power and delivers the future Vader into Jedi hands. 2 birds, one perfectly orchestrated stone. But even Palpatine couldn't predict what that farm boy from Tatooine would cost him 2 decades later. The shot heard round the galaxy, the Battle of Yavin, when hope had a name. The Death Star plans are not in the main computer. Those words doomed an entire battle station and proved that sometimes the most important victories happen in the briefing room, not the battlefield. But here's what makes Yavin truly legendary. It's the first time in Star Wars history where hope isn't a strategy, it's a person. Luke Skywalker wasn't supposed to be in that X-Wing. He was supposed to be safely tucked away while trained pilots handled the impossible mission. But when pilot after pilot died in that trench, hope came down to a farm boy who'd never flown anything more sophisticated than a speeder. Use the Force, Luke. In that moment, when Luke switches off his targeting computer and reaches out with feelings instead of facts, the galaxy changes forever. Not because he destroys the Death Star, anyone could have fired those torpedoes. No, the galaxy changes because in that moment, the Force returns as an active participant in galactic events for the first time in 20 years. The Empire tells itself Luke got lucky, but luck doesn't make impossible shots down thermal exhaust ports. The Force does. And the Force chose a side that day, the same side it would choose again and again until balance was finally restored. Yavin proves something profound. In a galaxy of superweapons and massive fleets, sometimes the most powerful force is a single person who refuses to give up hope. But hope without wisdom can be dangerous, as the galaxy would learn at its darkest hour. The Empire's greatest victory, Cloud City, where heroes are broken. The carbon freezing chamber on Cloud City is where Darth Vader committed his greatest crime. Not against the Rebel Alliance, not against the Empire, but against the very concept of heroism itself. Think about what Luke represents when he arrives on Bespin. Pure heroic archetype. The young knight rushing to save his friends, lightsaber in hand, destiny on his shoulders. He's everything the galaxy needs him to be: brave, noble, selfless. Vader breaks him in under 5 minutes. You are not a Jedi yet. It's not an insult, it's a clinical assessment. Vader isn't just fighting Luke, he's demonstrating the difference between raw talent and true mastery. Every move Luke makes is countered, every attack turned against him. But the real battle isn't with lightsabers, it's psychological. When Vader reveals the truth about Luke's parentage, he's not just sharing information, he's destroying Luke's entire understanding of reality. I am your father. That moment when Luke chooses to fall rather than join Vader, that's the most important choice in Star Wars. Not because it saves him, but because it proves that some things are worth dying for, even when living would be easier. Luke falls into the abyss broken, maimed, and stripped of illusions. But he falls as himself. And sometimes in a galaxy full of compromises and corruption, staying true to yourself is the only victory that matters. The Empire wins the Battle of Cloud City completely. But in breaking Luke, Vader accidentally forges something far more dangerous than a mere hero. He creates a Jedi who understands the cost of victory. The galaxy's darkest hour, Order 66, when hope dies. Order 66 isn't really a battle, it's a genocide so perfectly orchestrated that it destroys an entire way of life in a single coordinated moment across thousands of worlds. But here's what makes it truly terrifying. Every single clone trooper who executes Order 66 believes he's saving the Republic. The control chips don't make them evil, they make them certain they're doing good. Good soldiers follow orders. The most chilling line in Star Wars history because it reveals how easy it is to turn protectors into executioners with the right programming. Master Plo Koon, shot down by pilots who had fought beside him for years. Ayla Sakura, gunned down by troops who had shared campfires with her. Ki Adimundi, overwhelmed by soldiers who had called him general just moments before. Each death isn't just murder, it's betrayal on the most intimate level possible. But the real tragedy of Order 66 isn't the Jedi who died, it's the Jedi who lived. Obi-Wan, watching security footage of Anakin slaughtering younglings. Yoda, feeling thousands of lights go out in the Force simultaneously. The survivors carry guilt that will haunt them for decades. In one night, the galaxy's guardians become its most wanted fugitives. Hope doesn't just die, it becomes illegal. And the man responsible sits in the Chancellor's office, organizing relief efforts for the Jedi Rebellion with perfect sympathy on his face. Order 66 succeeds so completely that for 20 years, most people believed the Jedi deserved what happened to them. That's not victory. That's the systematic elimination of truth itself. But truth has a way of surviving, even in the darkest times. And sometimes it returns in the most unexpected form, an old hermit on a desert planet, watching twin suns set over a galaxy that has forgotten what hope looks like. The impossible choice, Endor, where love conquers evil. The Battle of Endor is really 3 battles happening simultaneously, and the most important one takes place in a throne room where no shots are fired. On Endor's surface, Ewoks prove that primitive weapons can defeat advanced technology when powered by righteous fury. In space above, the Rebel fleet discovers they're flying into a trap more devastating than anyone imagined. But in the Death Star's throne room, Luke Skywalker faces a choice that will determine whether the galaxy has any future at all. When Luke finally loses control and attacks Vader with pure rage, he becomes everything Palpatine wants him to be, a replacement apprentice powered by hatred and pain. In that moment, Luke is more dangerous than he's ever been, and closer to falling than ever before. Good, your hate has made you powerful. But then Luke does something that changes everything. He looks at Vader's severed robotic hand, then at his own gloved hand, and realizes what he's becoming. I am a Jedi like my father before me. It's not a boast, it's a choice. Luke chooses to be defenseless rather than become like his enemies. He chooses certain death over certain corruption. And that choice, that willingness to die rather than compromise, awakens something in Vader that the Emperor never accounted for. Love. No. One word. 20 years of conditioning shattered in a single syllable. When Vader lifts the Emperor and hurls him into the reactor core, he's not just saving his son. He's choosing to remember who he used to be. You were right about me. Tell your sister you were right. The Battle of Endor ends with fireworks and celebration across the galaxy, but the war ends in a throne room where a father dies saving his son, proving that love is stronger than hate, hope is stronger than fear, and redemption is always possible, even for those who seem lost forever. The pattern and the chaos. Here's what's incredible about these 5 battles, that they're all connected by a single thread, the choices people make when everything is on the line. Naboo shows us how evil disguises itself as order. Yavin proves that hope can triumph over impossible odds. Cloud City teaches us that sometimes losing a battle is the only way to win a war. Order 66 demonstrates how quickly civilization can crumble when people stop thinking for themselves. And Endor reveals that love and sacrifice can redeem even the darkest souls. But here's the deeper pattern. Every single one of these battles comes down to a moment when someone has to choose between the easy path and the right path. And the people who choose the harder road, Luke switching off his targeting computer, refusing to strike down Vader, falling rather than joining the dark side, those are the choices that actually change the galaxy. Because that's what Star Wars really teaches us. Battles aren't won by superior firepower or better tactics. They're won by people who refuse to give up their principles, even when everything seems hopeless. The galaxy far, far away shows us that in our darkest moments when evil seems unstoppable and hope feels naive, the most powerful weapon isn't a Death Star or a lightsaber. It's the courage to do what's right, even when it costs everything. And that's a lesson worth fighting for, no matter which galaxy you call home. And if you think those battles were wild, wait until you see how many Jedi were secretly breaking the rules while all this was happening. Click the video on your screen now.